Can you hear the message? How we doing, God's people? It's Nate Johnson coming back with you with my 2 cents for the day. Um, it's a doozy, man. I gotta be all over the place today with this one, man. So I need you guys to stick with me. You know what I mean? I need you guys to hang in there with me because I'm all over the place with it. Okay. Can you hear the message? Okay. So let's get right into it because I don't want to take up too much time. Okay. On this Sunday. Um, so anyway, I'm gonna set the scene a little bit for this thing. Say we have an 18-year-old kid who's in a courtroom with no representation, doesn't want any representation. And so they're doing it on their own. The judge is asking questions and the kid is supposed to answer. But in answering the questions, of course, the kid is kind of excited and emotional. So they speak how they speak and kind of, loudly and may say some curse words of choice and this and that kind of thing because they speak kind of like they speak normally, which the kid kind of grew up in what we call like the ghetto or something. So they speak kind of like ghettoish. Okay. So, been warned a couple of times from the judge, about the curse words of choice. And been warned if it happens again, the judge is going to remove them from the courtroom because they don't speak like that in the judge's courtroom. Okay. That's the scene. I'm going to pause right there on that because that's the scene. Okay. Now we got the picture. So now to get into it, with a little bit of things, going to be all over the globe, man. So make room. Okay. Make room. So let's say we have, a Chinese person that's in China. You know what I mean? You kind of expect that person to speak Chinese, correct? Okay. If you have kind of a Spaniard that's in Spain, you would expect them to speak Spanish, correct? So some of you might catch on. So if I have in America someone who is grown up in a ghetto, would you not expect them to speak ghetto or some form of broken English? Okay. So to me, it only makes sense to me that that would pretty much be logical. So, so let's say, we have a newborn baby. Okay. If you have a newborn baby that's missing a limb, people see the baby when it comes out and everyone's like, oh, poor baby, precious thing, bless his heart, blah, 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 her heart, kind of thing is how we kind of do. Right. But do we realize as people that baby, when it comes out, that baby doesn't feel any sorrow, doesn't feel any less than, because the baby doesn't even recognize that it's missing a limb. You know what I mean? That kind of comes from our end as putting that into the baby. Um, as a child that grows up in chaos may only know chaos, just like a cheetah or a deer would only know how to run. So that's what they do. They run. They don't try to fly, right? Um, so if I was to witness, or you were to witness, any of us was to witness in America, a Chinese man scolding their kid in competition, you know what I mean, getting at their kid in competition, we wouldn't pretty much, do anything or think weird of it. We would probably think, man, it's a little different custom than us. How they were doing it, handling it, probably be a little different for us. We might be like, man, it's kind of different for us, but we probably wouldn't think too big of it. You know what I mean? The case may be. So question being, so why would we think any different if it was somebody who was from the ghetto, so to speak, and they were getting at their kid in competition? Why would we feel the need to be like, oh, they need help, oh, they need Jesus. Oh, some people might even run outside, try to call the police because they tripping on their kid or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? When I think the message is supposed to be that the parent is there, the father is there. He's present in that child's life and supporting them. You know what I mean? But we would tend to look at it as if there would be something crazy about it or whatnot. And me working with kids in the field that I've worked in for 20 some years, working with kids in the field, I've seen those situations where kids are used to being in chaos. So there's kids that have grown up in chaos and that's all they know. So when it's calm, they have a problem. It's an issue for things to be calm, cool, collective because they only know chaos. So it might seem weird to you to understand that child because that child only knows chaos. Well, some of them grow up that way and they're adults now and they still only know chaos. So they teach that chaos to their young ones, and that's all they teach their young ones is the chaos, and the chaos continues. You know what I mean? But we as people still tend to teach what we teach. We're going to teach that English is what we should be teaching and you should be speaking, but you're Chinese. Maybe I'm off on the way I'm thinking, you know, because I don't know, something that just came to me, you know, in the Bible it says, um, be careful of what you hear and how you use it, because it also shall be measured unto you. Okay. Um, and I'm just saying is like I think a lot of times we hear things and we see things. We might see someone, trying to get at their kid about something in competition, and we kind of think, oh man, that dude just got out of jail or something like that. He tripping on that kid or whatever the case may be. But that man is there. He's in, he's doing it his way because that's what he knows. That's how he speaks because he speaks that way, this and that, because he's a Chinese man speaking Chinese. But we'll look at it differently as if, oh, because we are shunning because he's using a broken English, for lack of a better term, broken English type of speaking. We're going to say that we know that that ain't the proper English. So we don't care. That's wrong. You know what I mean? So let's get at him and tell him he's wrong and scold him and this and that. But if that's what he knows, that's what he knows. But he's still doing the right thing. Is the message still not clear? And the fact that he's still being a father to his child and he's showing love and respect to his child is just in a way, in a language that you may not agree with because he's speaking Spanish. I'm just saying, maybe I'm a little off. Don't get me wrong. Us being Americans, I know in certain situations when things keep getting worse and the person you're talking to keep looking at you funny as you try to converse, 85 to 95% plus would have been said to curse. Just saying, be careful of what you hear and how you measure or use it, because it may be measured unto you. 2 words, 8 letters, show love, and a salute to all those who suit up.